Okay, here we are. I'm back at the spot. It's raining. I think you can probably hear that. I need to get set up quickly before it starts to actually drip through and get some dry wood together. So I'm just gonna crack on and leave the camera running. I've got them on the GoPro today. This is the first time I've used a GoPro in many years and I actually hate the things. So this is kind of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. Right, let's get this tarp up. The OneTigris chair, it's like 40 quid in a kind of woodland thing. I love the print on it, but it's actually quite a big pack size, relatively large, relatively heavy. Not the end of the world, but this thing takes up way too much room in my pack, and I definitely at some point need to upgrade to a Helinox, the Chair Zero or ground chair or something like that. It's just not a priority right now. I should probably keep my voice down. I can hear lots of movement. Anyway, back. Let me set this thing up. I'll set this up right now. It's so easy. It's just like any of the other chairs. You literally. And honestly, as a quick review of this chair, it's fantastic. It's great for 40 quid. It's bloody good. It's just a teeny bit heavy for me. Also, the feet sink into the ground, and you can get additional feet and mats and all kinds of stuff. But it's fine. Wouldn't call it a design flaw. I mean, when you're on a woodland floor, it's going to happen, especially if it's wet. I don't think you can do a lot to do that. You can mitigate it a little bit. Right, here's the chair. It goes in really easy. You do the bottom bits first, and then you just do the tops. So one goes in there. One goes in there. And then I don't think you can see this because the camera's too low, but I'm going to do the top corners. One. Now the last one is the real trick, but it shouldn't be a problem. There you go. One great comfy chair. Whew, right, okay. Wood is now done and I've got a big pile there. It's great, it's easy. There's a whole bunch of dead wood and stuff that's piles of stuff that's just literally fallen down in storms and stuff that's right next to me that I'm just sawing off. It's dead easy. I mean, dead easy. I'm boiling hot, you're right. There's no other better way of generating heat than sawing. I'm absolutely dripping. Big pile of logs all set up. Couple of things I wanted to say. The reason why I turned the camera on, I'm using a Temu setup here and it's not great. Okay, I know in my previous couple of videos I've been raving against Temu, but it turns out that the more money you spend, actually the shitter it gets. So there's some really big caveats to be had. The small 1, 2, 3 pound stuff, or maybe 5, 7, 8, not really a problem. But when you start to get up in pricing above £10, £20, even more, firstly, check Amazon because it's probably the same price or cheaper, and they're just trying it on. It's just and I can't remember the second point. But the point is be really careful. You have to look at the bad reviews first, which they hide at the very end. And once you've done that and you look at the actual thing, look at the size of it, the proportions, the metals or plastics or whatever, how it's made, and then you can start to get an idea whether this thing is overpriced or underpriced. Don't let other people go, yeah, this thing is great, sway you, because mostly they're either bots or they haven't even used it yet, or there's lots of good reasons. So the two things I bought, the pole and the tripod, for around 10-12 quid each, are actually crap. And for the 22-25 quid, I should have just bought a dedicated selfie stick. It's overpriced. It's not an aluminium alloy. It's garbage. I got absolutely done. So if you think I'm a Temu fanboy and I'm completely on their side, no, you're wrong. They screw up frequently. Fucking mosquitoes. Right, I better get going. I'm gonna get a fire going. See you soon. Tarp set up. I'm all just set up for the time being. I got a bit of smoke on me, keep these mosquitoes away from me, and I'm just going to chill out for a minute. You know, it's now 10 to 6. It isn't raining, and it should be, but as I said last time, I kind of get jibbed. I don't know what's going on, but I think it's this geography. all this rain gets predicted, and then I get a teeny bit of it instead of it all. But we shall see. The night is young. So I'm going to chill for a minute, have a wee smoke, and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so whilst I'm freshly medicated and I've got some focus about me, what we should do is we should talk about, and I'm going to talk about right now, ADHD and cannabis, medical marijuana, self-medication, whatever, irrespective of the legalities in your area, okay? Cannabis changed my life, okay? I have a PhD, I have a master's, I have a Bachelor of Science. All were completed under medication. I am not able to take traditional ADHD medication because I've had problems with it. Frankly, I'm an addict, and giving an addict speed is not a good idea. I abused my dextroamphetamine, the Dexedrine, and Ritalin did nothing for me. So I'm unmedicated except for the cannabis. The cannabis is my medication, and I am officially prescribed it here in the UK through a licensed, registered cannabis clinic, and they're all around the UK. If you look up Medical Cannabis UK or Medical Cannabis Clinic UK, you will find them. There are a lot of them now, and they've sprung up over the past 2 or 3 years. It's a big deal. It's all done privately, by the way. It's not done on the NHS. It'll cost you 200 or 300 quid to get the assessment, and then you pay about £300 an ounce, which is another problem. But it's legal medical cannabis. Now, for me as an ADHD person, I've been using cannabis since I was 17 years old, because the first time that I used it, it changed my life. Literally, I was like, oh my God, this is a panacea. The ensuing 30 years were arguments with my parents and the authorities and everybody else who didn't believe me that I was self-medicating. Everybody thought I was a druggie, a drug user, all of that stuff. Well, my PhD, my Masters and my Bachelors are all going to show you that I am a perfectly productive member of society. In fact, I'm more productive than most. And that's because I'm able to leverage my hyperfocus. The secret to ADHD and the secret to winning with the ADHD is using your hyperfocus. And cannabis will help you trigger your hyperfocus. That's what I learned. That's the great secret. That's what most people don't know or won't tell you. I'm going to say it again. Cannabis makes you a better person because you can trigger your hyperfocus, which gives you a competitive advantage in a world where you are hamstrung from birth. If you're not using these things to use your hyperfocus, you will lose out. You are losing out to neurotypicals who don't have any of the problems that we have. Cannabis is controversial. It's stigmatized. A few years ago, it was illegal for for medical use here in the UK. So it's got a huge stigma around it. Druggy, smoking, lazy, dopey, all of that stuff, which is garbage. Because in the right hands, it has a paradoxical effect. So in an ADHD person's hands, the paradoxical effect is it gives you focus. Instead of making you dopey and disconnected and amotivated, it gives you focus and attention and drive. You've just seen me take 2 really big bowls of medicine. Do I look and sound stoned to you right now? I'm actually getting my back bitten stupid by the mozzies. I might have to run back over towards the smoke. Do I seem dopey? No, I'm focused, I'm sharp. It's the cannabis that's doing it for me. That's how I'm able to do a PhD. That's how I'm able to be a successful academic. That's how I'm able to be a successful professional. I don't go around telling everybody I'm stoned because I don't look stoned. I don't sound stoned. I am stoned, but stoned isn't stoned. Stoned is normal. Cannabis makes us not just normal, it makes us normal plus hyperfocus. And normal plus hyperfocus equals superhero. You have a superhero inside. You have super abilities that other people don't. There are things that I can do that I know normal folk can't do because they don't do it. And I expected my whole life, I expected that they could. I just assumed that they could. But they can't. It took me years to realise this, and that's why I'm telling you this, because you shouldn't have to wait your whole life for the penny drop to realise how special you are. But if you don't trigger your hyperfocus, you won't be special. That's the truth. That's what no one's telling you. Okay, the plan now is to get my hammock set up. I'm going to get it set up right now. It's about 6:20. It's still early and I've not got much battery left on the GoPro. So I'm going to try and just get this done whilst I've got remaining light and my additional light, just so I can get my nest, my whole hammock set up on camera. I'm also setting up the under blanket for the first time, and this is going to be a real test because I've never slept with an under blanket before in the nest, which is really how it was designed to be used. So this should be a good night's sleep. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to get it set up. Under blanket time. This is my first time with this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I haven't even checked that all the carabiners and everything are in there, so it's going to be interesting, but it should be. DD are good people. Oh, that's so nice of you, DD. Thank you very much. All the carabiners are already on. That's so nice. I was expecting them to be in a packet, them to fall out, and they're all there. So there we go. UX unboxing passed. Well done, DD. Impressed. I like it. Right, let me see if I can get this worked out as to how I get this on now. Shouldn't be rocket science. Hi gang, alright, this is my sleeping bag. I thought I'd show you. I'm a Carinthia fan. Can you see that? Carinthia. These are amazing. My friend Dan told me all about them. You probably know all about them. This is the Eagle. This is the summer bag, and this is one of the last camps I'm going to get with it because it's so great. It's comfy, the loft is beautiful, it's relatively smallish. I mean, it's not that small to be fair, but it's great. It's super hard wearing. This thing's going to last me many camps. It's great. I'm so sold I don't even want to try any other bags. I just want the Defense 4 for the winter time, which is about 150 quid or about 80 to 100 second hand on eBay. So this is my bag. Let me just get it in the nest. Right, one other thing I did was I made a nice long orange pull thing with some beads on the end. All this shit I bought on Temu. This is my long pull for when I'm in bed, so that just in case it's down the other end or I forget to pull it near me, I've got a nice pull to get me the string. Must admit I'm not a big fan of this light, but it makes life so much easier. So much easier. Right, I've got everything set up now. One last thing to do actually, and I'll show you that right now, is my pillow. I use a Temple travel pillow, which is the same as their full-size pillow, just literally about a third of the size, but the same contour, the same shape, the same material. And if you've got a bad back, like most of us old folk do, whether it's the top end and it's your neck and shoulders, or it's the bottom end, you know, your lumbar spine, where all of us suffer in L4, L5 or L5, S1, you owe it to yourself to get yourself a really decent ergonomic pillow, and they're about 100 quid, but it will save your life. Can you see the rain coming through? Great, we're getting there. Let me just take you over here. I'm just going to bring you over to Campski. Okay, this is the Temper travel pillow. The Temper TEMPUR. Because it's memory foam, it obviously goes relatively small and stuffs quite nicely. It comes in this lovely plasticized waterproof sack thing. And here it is. Let's just let it kind of loft up a bit. But that's it. It's supremely comfortable. It's amazing in a hammock. Oh my god, it just gives you that extra lift to kind of level stuff off. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. I use this chunky end, but some people like the thinner end. God, I nearly lost that. I said about 80, maybe 100 quid. They are expensive, it's a pillow, but you're only ever going to buy one. Right, let's pop this in here. Another pillow. This is a knee pillow. And again, if you've got back problems and you want to be able to carry a 20-30 kilogram rucksack or whatever you're going to be doing as you get older with the bad back and the damage that we've all done, you need a knee pillow, because you've got to keep your back, your pelvis balanced, and if you don't, you're going to have incredible trouble. So that's why I use one of these. It was about, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 quid on, I think I bought this Temu actually. I have to double check, or you can get them on Amazon, get them anywhere. It just can take a bit longer because it's cheap and not the official memory foam, but it's basically just a kind of a contoured pillow that's going to kind of, where you put your knees in between, it sits in between your knees and just gives a bit of separation between your knees to keep everything balanced. You will wake up, between these two pillows, you will get a better night of sleep, and you will wake up not in screaming agony, which is frankly great. Just going to chuck this in there. Right, that's way too much light, too much talking. Time for some music, time for some medication, and time for some chillage. Just as the rain starts, let's do this. Right, it's dinner time. I'm hungry. It's prawn chorizo time. And coriander, of course, I've remembered it this time. I know I sound like a one-trick pony, but ever since I discovered, ever since I learned about it from TA Outdoors, it's all I ever want to eat when I'm out and about now, because it's so tasty and so good. So I kind of save it for when I come out camping and enjoy it when I'm here. So if you're looking for kind of culinary excellence, this ain't your channel. Go elsewhere. I'm just going to make the same old stuff and fill myself up. I won't make a big deal of it on camera. I'll just do a few cutscenes, a few little B-roll, and we'll just roll along. Because today is really mostly about ADHD, and I want to get most of my content in this video about ADHD and actually downloading some good stuff to you, actually starting to help you with it. And it's not just about the medical cannabis, it's just about coping strategies in general, for which cannabis is just one of many. Right, let me get this ready and I will come back to you. Okay, so remember last time I was here last week, I had a big problem. I ran out of gas, and that's not a problem I want to have again in the future. Gas is great, but for the sort of camping I'm doing locally and at the moment, I don't necessarily need to be doing gas or spending the money or having that kind of a risk. I did have a twig burner. I had the OneTigris one and I hated it. It was great for one use, but after it was used, it got so bent out of shape I couldn't put it back together again. I actually binned it in disgust. OneTigris is usually great gear. Wasn't impressed by that. I think it needs to be thicker, or I just burnt it too hot. I don't know. It wasn't great. So I just bought this for 15 quid on Amazon. It is one of those vertical stoves. I got the Tom Shoe branded one because it's got a couple of bits and pieces extra to it, namely some ventilation holes for the secondary combustion. I'm going to put this together and I'm going to cook dinner on it instead of the fire, just because I want to try it out. So let me put it together and I'll come back to you. And so here we are. That was easy. I didn't need instructions. It was really intuitive. It's got the base plate, which has got the ventilation holes all the way through it, which is great, so that it's breathing in from underneath, from the sides here. That's the base. Then what's really interesting is the main part of this unit here is this part here, which, as you can see, it's got those additional holes there for that secondary combustion, which is great, and that sits on there. Okay, so that's the main unit right there, and that's where it all goes off. This is literally the pot holder and the exhaust, if you would, and that all goes on up there. That's separate. That clips in. Oh, I forgot to put this back in again. There is a basket for the wood or the twigs that you're burning, which goes in here. That pushes just down to the very bottom, and then this sits on the top. Great little kit, comes really small. I'm just going to set it down on the floor here, and I'm just going to get it stoked up, and then we're going to cook some prawns and chorizo and coriander on it in a few minutes. Okay, as you can hear, it's raining nicely too. Okay, what we're going to do is, I'm going to do some cheating here. Here's the little stove. I've got one of these great little fire discs. This isn't one of the Ray North ones. This is from eBay. Lovely seller. I cannot remember. I will link him here because he was great. He shipped it the next day, and these are fabulous. They're so great. What you do with them, basically, as you've probably seen these a million times, but they're new to me, is you just tear them up, and then those tiny little fibers there so it can be sparked with a stick. You know, it's completely easy. I'm actually just going to cheat and use one of these, but it goes up so easily. Right, just going to drop that in here. Right, now part 2 of the cheat is this. I'm a bad boy. I bought kindling with. I had some at home from the summertime. I thought, you know what, if there's a wet weather thing, I can just, there we go, kindling, you know. So I'm just going to get this thing going quickly and easily. I've got so much dry wood here, I could have done it. You wouldn't have known anything different, but that's not the kind of guy I am. I'm just being honest. So I'm just going to get some logs, some twigs going in here. And get some decent heat going, and then I will come back to you in a moment to do the actual cookage. Okay, the brand of this thing is Tom Shoe. You can never have too much coriander. It's the law. What's really nice is that as this thing burns down, you get a lovely glow in there. I don't want it fully raging, so this is great. This is a lovely simmering kind of a heat. Perfect just for finishing it off with. Now, because I'm a moron, I forgot my rice. Every one of these trips I forget something. So it's the rice I forgot. But fortunately I've got some bread, and that'll be my carb with this. So I'll have a couple of brioche buns which will go nicely with this, and maybe I'll make buns out of this. And that'll be dinner. Nice dinner. Bit of protein and carbs. And fat and all the goodies. Right, that's ready. Look at that. Yumptious. That's outrageously good. Oh my god. That is the way to fly, boys and girls. Prawn, chorizo, coriander, brioche bun. Oh yeah! Do you know what? I could listen to the sound of rain all night. I love this. There definitely has to be an ASMR effect going on, or something like that, where neurodivergent people get something from it. It's crazy. Actually, okay, whilst we're talking about this, let me turn around a little bit. One of the things that has changed my life, my working life, my ability to hyperfocus, are things like rain sounds, kind of fractal noise. Anything that doesn't have vocals is particularly good. Like, so instrumentals and, you know, drum and bass is great on some days, but actually, and no vocals drum and bass, obviously. But actually, if you listen to drum and bass with vocals, you've got a problem way beyond ADHD, but that's a whole nother story. So, things like rain, thunder, brown noise, which is a deeper version of white and pink noise. Try white and pink noise out, they're not as great. Brown noise, I think you'll probably be able to diagnose yourself with ADHD or not, depending upon whether you have a fundamental visceral reaction to a brown noise video on YouTube. There's plenty. Go grab one. Listen to it. Now, top tip, listen to it on a big system if you've got one. Listen to it with bass. And you don't want to listen to it on headphones, although if you have to, so be it. Don't sit on it with your computer speakers at your desk. Try get something a bit spread, a bit wider. So if you've got bigger corner speakers, or you've got a bass in the corner, you know, use that, because you want to feel that expansive sound and the bass. It will go straight through you. I mean, it'll go right into you, and it's amazing. Now, it's that same kind of effect, which I presume is ASMR, which is happening right now, as I can hear the rain on my tarp, as I can hear it just showering across the top of the canopy out here. So do these things, listen to these sorts of sounds. You don't have to listen to them super loud, so if you're in a Zoom meeting or like a Google Meet or a Teams or one of those, all you have to do is have it on really low. Most of those apps will consider it noise and just filter it out anyway as background noise, which means you can get the calm and the cool and the chill and be able to deal with a really boring, not relevant business meeting, and still be able to get on with it and have that chill factor that the noise of the rain or the brown noise is giving you. I will put a link of some of my favorites in the comments for this video, because I've got some that are real go-tos that just work. I'll put those in the comments below, or in the description of the video, so you can try it yourself. See you in a bit. Nicotine. That's a good lead off. Nicotine is dopamine, right? You know that nicotine is a dopaminergic thing. It creates dopamine or releases dopamine, or has a dopamine effect. That's why it's so bloody addictive. Well, one of the reasons why it's so addictive. But I have a hypothesis that ADHD people are completely addicted to nicotine because we're self-medicating with it. Because we need that dopamine, because we're either dopamine deficient or we don't regulate dopamine like normal folk do. That means we tend to get addictive personalities, you know. We tend to end up in drug rehab programs if we're lucky, or jails, institutions and death. As you can probably tell, I'm an ex-12-stepper. I've been through AA, NA, and when I lived in California, MA, and a bit of CA. Basically all of them, apart from, okay. So that was me in my 20s and 30s. I was kind of, in my 20s, I got really lost. ADHD, undiagnosed in your 20s, is savage. And I'm hoping that today most of our kids are all being diagnosed at school or shortly thereafter. Because getting into adolescence and into your 20s without being able to control yourself, your brain, your thinking, without having coping strategies, can be an absolute nightmare. And frankly, things like gambling, sex addiction, drug addiction easily take hold. Easily. Our children are completely susceptible to these things. And this is all my opinion, by the way, but I think almost certainly the stats, the data does bear it out. So the thing is we are creatures of dopamine. And there's two kinds of dopamine. Well, there's easy dopamine and hard-earned dopamine. And this world is all about easy dopamine. So our kids, our ADHD kids, are getting wildly addicted to TikTok because it's easy dopamine. What we as adults need to do is to learn how to get the hard dopamine, how to earn our dopamine. The best way to do that is using your hyperfocus, because your hyperfocus is your shortcut. It's your competitive advantage. It's what makes all this BS, all the chaos, all the anxiety and depression and mood swings and embarrassments that come from being ADHD, it makes it all worth it. Hyperfocus gets you back in the game. Hyperfocus is, I want to say the leveler, but it's kind of not. It's like the cheat code that gets you in advance of everybody else. It's truly amazing. Hyperfocus is that state that you're in when you're so focused, you're so concentrating on something that someone is talking to you, someone could be even tapping on your shoulder, something could have happened in the world and you just don't notice. It's like that analogy or whatever that saying, you know, the house is burning down around you and you're just carrying on. I mean, if you're a gamer, you probably almost certainly know exactly what that's like. If you're a developer, if you're a creative writer, when you get into that zone where you're right there, the house can burn down and you wouldn't really notice until your feet weren't getting warm. We have this hyperfocus, but triggering it, being able to make it happen is not, oh my god, there's some big old creatures out here. Making it happen at will, that's the real trick. Doing things that you want to do, play games, have sex, go drinking, fun stuff, not a problem. There's no motivational issues for that. By the way, can you hear this? There's no motivational issues to do stuff like that. However, doing stuff like your homework or school, the work you need to do for work. Getting up in the mornings to do things you don't want to do, it is a massive challenge for the ADHD person, massive challenge, and it gets us in all kinds of trouble. Unpaid tax bills, car, insurance not being redone, MOTs, not going to the dentist, all the millions and one things that we just don't do that we should do because it's just not that important or interesting to us. What am I saying? Hyperfocus is, you have to be able to trigger it, and cannabis or medical cannabis is just one of those ways that I have found to trigger it, and it comes in what I call the Holy Trinity or what I also call the breakfast of champions, like ironically, which is nicotine, caffeine, strong coffee, strong Turkish, and cannabis, usually or almost always a haze or a sativa dominant strain. That combination, that Holy Trinity, can get you into hyperfocus at will. That means you can beat anybody at any game whenever you want. Or you can stick at something to learn it to become better than everybody else, because frankly we're no good at sticking around when things get difficult. When the low frustration tolerance gets tripped, we're doing something else. Oh, look, a squirrel, or I'm on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you're doing. Wow. It must be raining pretty heavily if I can feel it on the tarp and it's coming out. It's probably just getting my shoulders wet. I should probably move in a bit. So you owe it to yourself to understand your own hyperfocus and how to get into it. Cannabis may not be part of that equation. It might be exercise. You might have your own way of doing it. I'm just telling you what works for me. I'm very ADHD. My kids are, my brother is, his kids are. There's no way, not a snowball's chance in hell, that I could have got a PhD, a scientific, empirical, quantified numbers PhD, a really difficult one too, without my hyperfocus. There's just no way. As a normal person, or without my hyperfocus, it couldn't be done. I did it. And it was down to cannabis, nicotine and caffeine, frankly. And I wrote the last 3 chapters and did much of my analysis in Amsterdam, sitting in Barney's coffee shop. That's Barney's Uptown, if you know it. With my laptop, and the owners, Derry and Cece, weren't thrilled about me being there, because Derry kept telling me, man, this isn't a coffee shop and like a Starbucks for you to come and use our Wi-Fi. But they were very, very kind. They let me stay there. I don't think they let anybody do that, but they were very kind to me and they let me do it. But I managed to accomplish an awful lot 10 years ago now. Well, 2009, more, 15 years ago. Nearly 15 years ago. Before medical cannabis was available. So I had to go to Amsterdam, where recreational cannabis is available, to be able to trigger my hyperfocus, to be able to push through these final chapters and that bastard hard analysis that I had to do, which involved SPSS and many, many hours of repeated analyses. And if you know anything about statistics, I was doing Mancover's multivariate analysis of covariance, and I had a particularly massive data set. It was just hours and hours and hours of repetitive clicks, doing the same analysis across different lines and different in a matrix, and it took me weeks and weeks and weeks to do one analysis. So, find your hyperfocus. That's the bottom line here. You owe it to yourself. You have to do it. Please tell me in comments how you do it if you already do it. Tell me, how do you get into your zone? How do you create the conditions for focus? For me, it's that Holy Trinity plus something like brown noise or rain or thunder or one of those, or even drum and bass. One of those kind of more fractal noises that gets inside me. Once I can put those 4 things together, I can pretty much do anything. Right, I'm going to sit here and enjoy the rain for a bit. See you soon. When it picks up like that, it just sends a shiver of goodness down my spine. It's like, that's a dopamine hit right there. This is what I'm saying. Like having live rain as opposed to the recorded rain that like the fake rain that I do at home indoors. It's like methadone compared to heroin. Like having the real thing. Yeah, this is invigorating. It is. It's a bath of just aural, A-U-R-A-L, goodness. It really is. Auditory goodness. Or more than that, it's neural goodness. It's central nervous system calm. It's relaxation. That's what it is. It's like pangs of relaxation. I can feel my muscles relaxing. I can feel my body relaxing. That's exactly what it is. That's what the brown noise does for everybody, for you, for me, for everybody, for whom ASMR or ADHD is a thing. Oh my God, feel that. Okie dokie do. It's that time of the video where Nick tries something stupid with an auger. This is now like my third or fourth video, and I'm failing in every single video to make a Swedish torch. So I'm going to give it a go right now. I've got a decent chunk of wood. Again, this all looks like silver birch to me, but I've got no idea. If you could identify this piece of wood, please tell me in comments. It would make me very happy. That's what it looks like on the inside. I'm going to just try to go through it, get down about as far as that, and see what we can do. Obviously I didn't bring the power drill. That was completely dumb. Or if you're going to bring a power drill, don't bring the stupid big heavy battery. Bring the 2 milliamp one or whatever. Anyway, give me 2 secs. I'm going to. I need to fashion myself a handle for this bad boy using with this and a knife, and that's what I'm going to crack on with. So, auger and handle. Not the greatest, but it'll do. That was a lot of material to come off. I should have chosen a better piece. Right, now I'm going to have a go at the wood. Okay, so back on planet auger. I've been going for, I don't know, 10 minutes of hard pushing down grind, and I've got maybe, I don't know, a couple of centimeters, not even, not very far down. Again, I don't know if this wood is particularly hard, if my auger is particularly blunt, or I'm just useless. Not sure. I have another auger at home that I'm going to have to try. The auger saga continues. I will get this right one day. I will. Make no mistake. Okay, it's bedtime. It's just gone 2:30 and it's raining. It's beautiful. This is perfect go to sleep weather. It's going quite heavy. I'm very happy about it. And it's been a lovely, lovely evening of just chilling by the fire. I actually had a little dance. The great thing about the woods is that no one can see me sing or dance. I love it. It's great. I'm so free. Oh, this rain is amazing, and I'm going to go to sleep in it. So I'll see you in the morning. Night night. Good morning. It's very, very cold this morning. It's about 10-12 degrees centigrade, which again for the Americans, Canadians, Alaskans, or I don't know anybody else watching, that's a warm summer's day or whatever. But for here in my part of the world, in southeast England, it's a pretty chilly day. I was cold last night, really cold. The under blanket didn't do a good job. It wasn't the under blanket, it was me. I don't think I cinched it up tight enough, and I think there was too much of an air gap between me and the the blanket. So that was a bit of a problem, but I'm learning that one. My fingers are freezing cold. I just basically need to get up, get moving, and get some coffee in me. It is still pouring down, which is great, but I've got to get packed up and I want to get a coffee in me. So that's what I'm going to do first. It's coffee time. Some good old Turkish. Cheers. You cannot beat really good Turkish coffee. You just cannot. As an ADHD guy, Turkish coffee is medicine. This is fantastic. It's really strong. Not too strong, but just right kind of strong. Does a great job. Right, I've got to get this in and then I'm going to get packed up. Okay, good morning. I am all packed up and ready to go. Everything looks great. And I think it's time to move off. I've got meetings, I've got work to be at, I've got stuff to do. So I'm gonna head back now. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. I'm back at the bus stop. It's not because my pack's too heavy. I didn't bring a stupid drill with. It's because I'm a lazy